Dillon McCormick, a 90-year-old United States Air Force veteran, was out in the sweltering Louisiana heat, pushing a line of shopping carts across a grocery store parking lot. It was Memorial Day, and the temperature felt like it was 111 degrees. For most people, it was a day to rest, maybe even celebrate. But for Dillon, it was another work day and another day he had to push those carts just to make ends meet. That's when Karen Swensen noticed him. She was just there to shop, but seeing Dillon, gray-haired and frail in the blazing sun, stopped her in her tracks. She thought about the life this elderly man must have lived and couldn't understand how he ended up there, working so hard in such extreme heat. Like most of us would, she moved along, leaving him behind. But as she loaded her groceries into her car, something about Dillon stuck with her. The image of him wouldn't leave her mind. Karen is a retired news anchor from New Orleans, and she felt a strong tug to help. Before she drove away, she whispered a simple prayer. She said, "If I'm meant to help, let me find him." She returned to the parking lot, and sure enough, she spotted Dillon again, still pushing those carts. Karen approached him, calling out to stop him for a moment. She said, "Sir, it's Memorial Day, and you're still out here working? May I ask why?" Dillon looked at her and with a calm but weary voice simply said, "To eat." Dillon explained his situation. He lives alone, relying on $1,100 a month from Social Security. His bills, however, amount to $2,500 a month, which means he has no choice but to work. He's been pushing shopping carts at the grocery store for 23 years, standing outside in all weather conditions because that's what he has to do to make up the difference. Dillon doesn't have any children or any family nearby, just himself and his determination to keep going. Hearing this, Karen felt a strong surge of emotion. Dillon wasn't just some stranger working in tough conditions. He was a hero who had served his country and now found himself struggling in his old age. She knew people would respond if they knew Dillon's story, so she recorded a short video of him right there in the parking lot. Then she went home, created a GoFundMe page, and shared Dillon's story on social media. The response was immediate and overwhelming.
So yesterday we did a little video with you and you told us how you're a veteran.
Yes.
You served our country and we put it on social media. And right now people have raised $170,000 for you, sir. $170,000. And it's climbing.
In just 24 hours, people from all across the country had donated more than $200,000. The donations poured in, each one a small piece of hope for a better future for Dillon. When Karen tried to call Dillon to tell him the incredible news, she ran into a challenge. Dillon, a man used to facing the world alone, was understandably cautious. He didn't recognize Karen's number and hung up on her the first time. Determined not to let that stop her, Karen called again, this time bringing in a familiar face to help, Sheriff Joseph Lapinto, a respected figure in their community. Together, they explained to Dillon that the money and support were real, and the outpouring of kindness was actually genuine. Strangers were moved by Dillon's resilience and Karen's determination to help him. Dillon was so overwhelmed by the generosity of everyone in his community. He didn't know Karen, and he certainly hadn't expected such an incredible gesture from a stranger. Dillon said that she's a very high-class young lady and that there are few like her. Karen Swensen is no stranger to the people of New Orleans, Louisiana. For 2 decades, she was a news anchor at WWL-TV, a beloved figure delivering the city's biggest stories. As Karen was on air covering Hurricane Katrina, her own home was being destroyed. She had lost everything. Years later, her husband passed away from cancer after battling it for years. But even though her life has had extreme difficulties, she still focused on making a real impact on other people's lives. She also started Life's About Change, and she's motivated by helping other people navigate life's challenges through inspiration. And in helping Dillon, she lived up to that promise.
When I get to see the money.
Just as soon as we put your information into this account, it will transfer. You'll be able to retire.
Okay, what I do?
What do you think about it?
I think it's great. At my age, it's probably a miracle.
Is there anything you'd like to say? More than 3,000 people from around the country.
Thank them very, very, very much. And I wish them the best of luck in the world. And I hope they receive more than I ever get.
Karen believes this story is more than just about the money raised for Dillon. It's about how people can come together when it truly matters. She said,
Often we think of ourselves as divided, us and them. No, this was we and our. We take care of our own, not only in Louisiana, but this entire nation banded together. And I looked at who was donating. It's the left, it's the right, it's everything in between. We united for the right reason.
As for Dillon, he's determined to make the most of the help he's been given. He plans to donate a quarter of the funds to the Catholic Church near his home, showing that his spirit of giving continues even now.
If you were to be comfortably retired, what would it take?
About $2,500 a month.
And you make how much?
Overall, I make 14. Between my Social Security and this job, $2,600.
Okay, so you need $2,600. You need people to give $2,600 a month for you to live comfortably.
Yeah.
But one thing Dillon doesn't plan on doing is fully retiring. He said, if you stop working, you stop living, with a smile on his face. He also said, the good die young, so it looks like I'm going to be here for a very long time. Thanks to Karen and the generosity of thousands of strangers, Dillon McCormick can now choose to work because he wants to, not because he has to. He expressed deep gratitude, knowing this support would change his life forever. Dillon's story highlights the struggle that many elderly veterans face. For him, the funds not only provided relief, but also peace of mind, allowing him to enjoy his well-deserved retirement years. This is such a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we come together and we're driven by compassion and kindness. And maybe, just maybe, it will inspire others to pay it forward in their own way.
There are very few people like her left in this crazy world of ours. But as long as she's alive, people are in good shape.